Xi Jinping's wife could be the successor, as Chinese state media reports her solo activities recently. I guess Xi Jinping at least is running the party like it's a family business. Meanwhile, Xi walks with a bunch of business leaders like it's Despicable Me, Gru, and Minions. Plus, she also told China's central bank to buy up treasury and bonds again after a 20-year pause. What does that mean for the economy? Let's discuss. Welcome to China Insider, I'm David Zhang. People on the left always complain that the CCP doesn't have any women in top power. Well, this might be changing. Recently, Xi Jinping's wife, Peng Liyuan, was reported by state media for her appearance in cancer and health-related activities by herself. And while this is not the first time she has done something like this ambassadorial work in these type of fields, this time it is different. She's alone. Many now believe a rumor that Peng Liyuan, the wife of Xi, may be set to join the highest chamber of power in the Politburo Standing Committee. Now, of course, this would mean that Xi Jinping wants to keep the power in the family. But, of course, that's still a rumor. However, what could happen is Peng is a behind-the-scenes decision maker, or at least contributes to Xi's decision-making. Peng is already an influential figure in Xi's career. Many CCP officials, including former Foreign Minister Zhang, allegedly gained favor with Peng Liyuan, and then they subsequently got promotions with Xi. Now, in fact, Peng may be the reason for where Xi Jinping is today. In the earlier years, when Xi was just a provincial-level official, Peng was way more known than Xi publicly. Her positive public image helped to boost Xi Jinping's recognition within the party. So that you could say she has already done a lot of work for Xi Jinping. Now, another reason for this potentially happening is that Xi Jinping has lost trust in most of his officials. As the purge of officials continues to happen, he will grow more and more suspicious of everybody around him. And it boils down to paranoia. After the purge of his once trusted confidants like Zhang and Li Shangfu, this paranoia is bound to grow even stronger. There's maybe 2 to 3 people in which he could trust right now. So much like Mao Zedong in his latter days, nothing is more loyal than family. I guess you could say that the CCP, it is a family business. And now that you have people like Kim Jong-un cultivating his daughter to be the next leader, despite her being only 10 years old, there's no reason why Xi Jinping can't do the same for his wife. Mao's Cultural Revolution was famously spearheaded by 4 people called the Gang of Four. Inside that Gang of Four, Jiang or Madame Mao, Mao's 4th wife, was head of the Central Cultural Revolution group. And so Xi Jinping could be doing the exact same thing. After all, he loves copying everything Mao does. Cultural Revolution 2.0, the Great Leap Forward 2.0, and now maybe there's even a new Gang of Four. What we could very well see is actually the first empress in China in a very long time. So nothing is impossible, given that Xi Jinping now has all the power. Now, Peng Liyuan herself is about 62 years old, which is still considered a good age for Chinese politics. Now, here's the thing about CCP rumors, right? Many people discount them because there's just not official. But this and last year, rumors have proven to be true over time. And even if they are rumors, they've become a driving force toward actual changes and actions. Like that rumor about Xi Jinping losing his power at the 20th Party Congress in November of 2022 and former Premier Li Keqiang ascending to power. Of course, it turned out to be a false one, but as Xi Jinping secured his 3rd term months later, Li Keqiang dies mysteriously in a swimming heart attack incident. So how much can we really say that we should deny these rumors or refute them, when in fact some of them actually become real? So the rumor about the wife in power, let's just say Xi Jinping copied everything that Mao's doing, so why not this one? Now, people may question Xi Jinping and his wife's relationship. After all, most leaders seems like their marriage are built on a marriage of power or some sort of a power relationship. Well, actually, no. According to official state media, in 2013, Xi Jinping, of course, had to authorize that this story could be published. The first time they met, Xi Jinping allegedly asked her how many singing styles are there. And given that Peng was a singer before meeting Xi Jinping. Now, I wonder if Peng had asked Xi Jinping how many kinds of ways are there to carry grains on his shoulder. Now, this is actually a Chinese meme. The original context is that Xi Jinping claims repeatedly that when he was younger, in the countryside, he was able to walk 10 li of mountain roads, which is about 5 kilometers or 3 miles, carrying 220 pounds equivalent in weight of grains without changing shoulders. Now just think about that for a second. Logically, it doesn't make sense, right? And so it became a massive internet meme because it's almost impossible for somebody, even if they're young and strong, to carry 220 pounds of weight and walk 10 steps, unless you're a bodybuilder, let alone walk 3 miles of mountain road carrying that amount of weight. So some Taiwanese bodybuilders actually attempted this challenge called the She Grain Challenge. Here's the video for it. On March 25th, Xi again repeated this story at a visit. He claims that the reason he could not change shoulder was because then the grains would fall out of the bags onto the ground. So he was trying to conserve grains. But the funny part is this, right? When you carry grains, it's almost always packed into a bag and then tied up so that nothing flies out. So there's no such thing as losing some while changing shoulders. Anyways, that's just a story that he continues to maintain. Some people say that maybe Xi Jinping was just bad at math. He thought that it was 22.0 pounds, and then he read it as 220 pounds. But I say, it's not really that, man. It's just Xi Jinping living in his dreamland. And before we continue, here's a sponsored segment from Puron.
If there is one supplement you want to get incorporated into your diet, it's a good omega-3 supplement. It's the best all-around defender for your health. It reduces inflammation, cholesterol, improves eyesight, and reduces risk for heart problems, as well as helps with joint pain, among other benefits. Today, I want to introduce you to Puron's green vegetables. Puron gets their ingredients straight from the high mountains of South Korea, and the omega oils are extracted from purslane and perilla seeds. It's 100% vegan. Now, personally, I've been using Omega for about 9 years, close to 10 years now. I've recently switched to Puron for about a few weeks now. Here's why. We mostly get our Omegas from fish, right? But that's not the best case for everyone, especially there's the aftertaste. It might not be suitable for vegetarians or vegan. So the most important part, right, we often forget is the actual concentration for Omegas. Puron soft gels have a much higher content for Omega-3, 6, 7, and 9 than many of the brands out there. And some say that they notice there's less hair loss, more energy, lower cholesterol levels, and overall improved health. I think the best part for me is the lack of inflammation or the reduction of inflammation. Other brands also they use this high heat method to extract the oil, which in turn creates a lot of harmful byproducts. Puron's green vegetable is done using a patented method of supercritical carbon dioxide low temperature extraction, so it preserves the natural properties and maintains high purities. First of its kind. So get it for yourself or as a gift to your loved ones ahead of the holiday season. Use my code DZ2023 and you can receive free shipping globally. Check out my link in the description and comment today.
And now let's talk about the Chinese economy. Xi Jinping recently met with business leaders from Western countries. He was all smiles meeting them. Here's a video, and you see that the message they're trying to portray is that China is open for business once again. However, according to one business leader who spoke to CNBC reporter Michelle Caruso-Cabrera, on conditions of anonymity, of course, the overall confidence in the Chinese economy is still low. In other words, these people were just putting on a show. And then, of course, there's no real substance. On the exact same day that the meeting took place, Chinese domestic stock market actually dipped, again below 3,000 points, launching what they're calling the 3,000 points defense line. Now, on a day like this, normally, right, it should actually boost the stock markets. It raised the stocks. But the reality is that the confidence level is so bad, it's just completely gone. The stock market goes down. And that's bound to be a slap in the face. So photos like this were widely circulated by Chinese state media. Xi Jinping in the middle, surrounded by these men who he took to the meetings with, looking like, reminds me of Despicable Me. The picture of Gru and his minions. It looks exactly like that. But one important signal did come, and that's really worth talking about, is from the South China Morning Post. This claims that Chinese Central Bank, PBOC, will be buying up their treasury bond, and that's after a 20-year pause. Now, the story was published by the South China Morning Post, which to me means that it's likely approved by the state council, which is responsible for the economy, to make this a public announcement for particularly Western businesses. So it's likely approved for publication by Beijing. And what they're referring to is that the Chinese central bank is planning on buying up its treasury and bond. And so this is a potential, I guess you would call, for a quantitative easing to happen. Not that it will happen, because that's been something that they're really critical of, the Chinese government, against quantitative easing. But according to Xi Jinping's words, it's a part of that policy toolkit in which they could at least resort to if that's the sort of the last case scenario. Now, at least Morgan Stanley doesn't think that they will actually end up using it. So here's the reason why it's a double-edged sword. China is printing money already, as we've known now, but according to this latest report, if it's actually going to go the way that they want it to, it would be like printing more money to buy up its own debt, which in turn would generate cash flow in the system, or liquidity. Now, this order was actually from last year. It was published in a book in which Xi Jinping had told the PBOC, or China Central Bank, to do so. But the reason why this wasn't done for 20 years in China is because it's considered a major stimulus, which is something that they're not really willing to do because it has a lot of problems. What you're essentially doing is you're injecting money into the system to pay for your debt. But just because you have a lot of debt doesn't mean that you can print that same amount of money to pay for the debt, right? Because eventually, I mean, the money, it has to come from somewhere. Not just, you can't just randomly print money. That's just not how money works. But so if you do have that money printed, it leads to devaluing your currency, and it could potentially go beyond your control. And then we could also potentially have hyperinflation. But the problem is in China right now is they're in deflation. So what this technically will do is it will lower interest rate, which is what China wants because it's wants people to buy more things at a cheaper price. It's in deflation right now, so it could boost up, potentially revert deflation into inflation. It lowers interest rate so people can buy more homes, boost consumer confidence, right? That's what they're planning on doing. Now, what they also want to do is, like I said, boost liquidity, aka having more cash flowing through the system so that people will have more money, so they're more encouraged to spend money. But this isn't going to happen even if they try to, because the real problem is a lack of consumer confidence. Even if quantitative easing happens, will that actually solve the issue of consumer confidence? Well, the answer is still no, because consumer confidence is lost, not because of economic reasons, but because of political reasons. And that's not because of the market in China. So that means the CCP has not regained the trust of consumers following the 3 to 4 years since they exited from zero COVID. And it's not something that can just be fixed overnight, as they've tried over the last 2 years. On paper, inflation should increase price of real estate. It could also drive up spending at the same time. Things get expensive, right? People are more eager to buy now if things get more expensive later on. Quantitative easing should achieve these things because China is in deflation. It should pull China out of deflation. But then again, the question is whether or not consumers will respond. If you look at recent history, when they've tried to stimulate the economy since the exit of zero COVID, of course, the answer to such type of stimulus has always been they're just going to save up the money in their bank accounts. They're not spending it. So even if more stimulus were to arrive in the form of adding so-called liquidity, it just gets pocketed by people who fear another disaster is on the way. And so if things get more expensive, that could also actually backfire because people would think that, well, I can just also wait for when things are cheaper to buy rather than go for it now, because who knows what's going to happen down the line. And so that again could also backfire. Also, the stimulus that they're attempting to use is to fill the holes in the economy, but they're not actually big enough. In trying to boost liquidity, the Chinese government faces several black holes like local debt, urban financing vehicles, and state-owned enterprises. These are all black holes. And they essentially swallow up the economy and all the stimulus that come with it before it even reaches any consumer side. What this indicates to us, though, is that the CCP is once again running out of options to revive the economy because it still doesn't understand the fundamental issue with what's causing it to go into the state in the first place. And it's just resorting to print more money, devaluing the yuan in the process to buy something temporary. I think buying time, but in the end, the effort will be futile. All right, that's it today for the episode on how China's First Lady could be getting into politics as well as China's economy, what it's doing currently at the moment. If you enjoyed the content, leave a like and comment below your thoughts and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, bye-bye.